You had the mud coming right out front of that, right up against the top of the deck, where any heavy rain would just pour mud right on the brand new deck. So I went out about 8 inches and dug a ditch all the way around that thing about that deep. I said, now just put rock in there and you'll never have that problem. I just do extra stuff for him because Chris is such a nice guy. I really like him. So I just thought I'll just do some extra stuff for him and he'll be real happy with me. And down the road, he'll come up with projects for me to do. So.
Well, if he has friends or somebody needs something done like that, he'll tell them.
Yeah, I like Chris. He's a real good guy. He's got one of the most aggressive dogs now. You have to deal with her. That female, that Brenda looking.
Yeah.
The male, he's.
Them dogs love me when I go. I usually take them.
She comes out and try to nip at me and stuff, and they'll, Sammy and him will get on. And I said, listen, she's not trying to hurt me. That's her way of interacting with somebody that's a stranger, is she'll nip at you a little bit. Put my hand down, she'll grab it. She's not hurting me, but she'll grab it. And I said, don't fuss at her. It's all right. That's just her personality. She knows I'm not afraid of her, but she's letting me know this is my house. Yeah. So it's not a big deal. But with Connie there, she won't. She'll tell Connie, I don't trust her. We just sit in the truck for a little while I let him out and go to the bathroom. Connie, go sit in the truck.
We are on.
Oh, we're up.
Yep. Up and
Yakking about stuff.
everything's running. Facebook is up. Boxcast is up.
I'm down.
They are working on our website embedding. So if you can't get our website, if you're trying to go to the live broadcast on our website link, I posted a link on my wall and in the forums that you can go to and click, and it'll take you straight to Boxcast, and you'll be able to watch it from there. So if you can't get on our regular website. And also, of course, we have Facebook.
It's me. Running off in the mountain like I do.
So it's good to be here this evening, and I don't think we met last Friday evening. Reason being that I had some people here working on cutting some trees down and cleaning up some things in the yard, and they had a stump puller. And in the midst of grinding that stump down and pulling it out of the ground, they cut the cable. Why you would think that a cable would be running right under a tree, I don't know, but it happened. And that happened at like 5:30, so I had to hurry up, get on Facebook and announce it. And so a lot of people said, Brother Parnell, we came and you weren't on. So that's the reason why. If you're on here now, I wasn't on last Friday. It was some technical problems with contractor. So the cable company came out and fixed it after some discussion. They wanted to know why in the world I was digging holes without contacting the 1-800 number. I said, well, we weren't digging holes. We were cutting trees down and grinding a stump. And why? My question wouldn't be why in the world did we cut a cable. The question would be why in the world did you have the cable running under that tree? So after a while, we both came to our senses, and I didn't have to pay for anything. And they spliced the cable back and fixed it back for me. So we're here this evening, and a lot of discussion. I wrote something on Facebook, and this might not be exactly the way I wrote it, but I said, are you getting used to the chaos yet? I said, This is the age of Aquarius. And then I quoted the little song, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And so there were comments about it, but I did get some comments in Messenger and some comments on that post that Brother Parnell, could you guys teach some and talk on what you mean by the age of Aquarius? What took us into the age of Aquarius, exactly what happened, how we get here, and what's it supposed to do to the earth? What's it supposed to do to humanity? What are the changes that we're going to have? Things like that. So I have studied for years, and not 4 years, many years, way more than 4, but for years I have studied the zodiac, the temperaments, which are sanguine, choleric, melancholy, phlegmatic. I have studied the biles of the body, the 4 types of biles. I think it's yellow, green, black, and something else, red maybe. I can't remember right now, but I have studied those. I have studied the 12 stars of the zodiac, the 12 constellations and houses of the zodiac. I've studied so many things, and I've pulled them all together for years and years and years until I can pretty well sit and just have a good discussion on them and how each one of them affects us and what's being influenced in the earth today, how it influences an individual. If I knew your, for instance, if I knew your location, your birth, your sign, the day you were born, things like that, and tie in all those planets, I could probably just about tell you, how much change you've got in your pocket today. But I don't do that, but I did study it for years, and along with the little gift that I have, it has helped me a lot in life. So tonight, as we go along, feel free to jump in on discussion. This is a Friday night, it's a discussion. It's like Rush Limbaugh's Friday afternoon. Anything goes. So, if you have something on your heart you want to discuss, just open it up and we'll discuss it. But I thought that as a topic, I would go into what is the Aquarian age, how's it affecting us, what's it do to us, all those kinds of things. And I'm going to pull up this up on my, in case somebody says something, and if Daniel or Patty misses it, I can, your sign, the day you were born. Okay. I might spot it. I'm not saying I will, but I might if they miss it. So we're going to talk for a little while and discuss the age of Aquarius, how it affects us, when did we come into it, how do we get here, and actually we are still entering into the age of Aquarius. The influence of Aquarius has been around for probably 50 years or more. But there's a time when the sun will move into the proper house of Aquarius, and the earth will do its wobble and turn a certain way, and it directs all the influences of the Aquarian house into the earth and into each one of us. And you say, well, that's spiritualism, Brother Parnell. Yes, at its highest. It is spiritualism. If you understand spiritualism, Brother Branham knew it. Brother Branham knew it like the back of his hand. He made statements about the zodiac that growing up I didn't understand, but once I started studying, I thought, wow, that man knew the zodiac like the back of his hand. He was very, very good in it and made comments that made sense, good sense, after I learned all the things that I learned about the zodiac. So we, the age of Aquarius is what it's called. And if I can just say very quickly, this will help you understand, the entire rotation of the earth, as it's rotating, the zodiac is not wrapped around the universe. The zodiac is wrapped around the earth. And the earth is the center point of the zodiac. And it's actually constellations, and the earth has a little bit of a wobble, and it leans toward a certain house. And as it comes through that house, the huge orbit of the earth, the orbit through the zodiac one time, takes 25,000 years. That's how big the universe is. Think about the earth and how fast it's traveling and everything else. Now, it'll do an orbit in 24 hours as far as spinning. But I'm talking about as it spins, it moves. Mm-hmm. And it keeps moving, and it goes all the way around the houses of the zodiac. And that takes 25,000 years for it to do it once. So when it gets into a house, the earth kind of wobbles into that house. That house then has a greater influence on the earth than any of the other houses. It's almost like it opens up a portal or a window. And I know this is going to really sound psychic or spiritualist to you, but it opens a portal to all of those in the theophany realms that has that nature. Mm-hmm. It opens a portal for them to be able to use, to enter in, to do all sorts of things. Now you may enter in, you may have entered in under Scorpio, but when the earth is resting in that house of Aquarius, you'll be a Scorpio as an individual, but you'll be an Aquarian when it comes to a collective nature. So there's so many things to go into and deal with. So we are leaned into the house of Aquarius, the Aquarian age in the zodiac. And the age of Aquarius, I'm going to get into when it started and things, but it means there's an old order passing away. When you enter a new house, the sun enters the house, the earth enters the house, politics enters the house, the portal to the earth and all the spirits to move into the earth are coming from that house. What's happening is the same way that you would embed something into your website. If you have a website and you want people to come to it, and you embed that link into your website so that everybody, when they hit that link, they end up in your website. Well, right now, whenever someone hits the link spiritually, they end up right here in Aquarius. This is the Aquarian age. And old orders pass away. The last age that we were in was Pisces. Now Aquarius is not a water sign. Aquarius is a air sign. Has a water bearer that is pouring water into the earth. He has a pitcher of water, and the Aquarian is pouring this endless waters into the earth and pouring it into the fish, which are upside down in the water. Well, to me, that is a symbol of two things. Number one, the Aquarian age will dominate in the south, because if you're in the northern polarization, they're upright. if you're in the southern polarization, they're upside down. So by the fish being upside down, that's Australia, that's all the southern atmospheres, that's all the southern nations below the equator. But the second thing is, when fish are turned upside down in the water, what are they? They're dead. So the Aquarian age was to pour endless waters into the fish, which is the people, and bring them to life. So that's what's going on. The Aquarian age is raising us into a higher consciousness and waking us up or bringing us to life, helping us to understand many, many things. So we left the Pisces age, which was a water age. And then we moved into Aquarius, which is an air age. And the three air signs are Aquarius and Libra and Gemini. Aquarius is the highest level. I'm not saying this because I'm Aquarius. Philosophers and everyone else say it. Aquarius is the smartest of all the zodiac. Aquarius has an innumerable amount of information and understanding, and they have the cognitive ability to put it all together. But they have a really aloof mind, so they don't know how to get out of that and take long enough to put it together. They just keep coming with more and more and more and more stuff. So sometimes it's kind of hard. That's why I ask you, are you getting used to the chaos? What you're watching in the earth right now, you say it's going crazy. Everything's going crazy. Nothing's in its comfort zone. Everything's falling apart. Well, now you know how my mind feels all the time. This is Aquarius. I put in there TIA. This is Aquarius. So we are entering into that age, the Pisces water sign. Now you know what water does. When water explodes, it turns to vapor and it goes into the air. Well, the great water age, the church ages, come to its end, and there was a great explosion. Read The Future Home, wherever you want to read it, many places, but The Future Home, Brother Branham says that was a great explosion there on Sunset Mountain. Well, it exploded the water, and where does vaporized water go? Into the air. Where did we go? When the church ages exploded and Pisces collapsed, we went into the air sign, Aquarius. Gemini is the next one on the level. Gemini is all about communication. And their communication is all about contrast. They're the twins. And they're almost the bipolar people of the message, if you want to call them that. Geminis don't want to make decisions. They can make decisions. They can make very good decisions. But they always want more information, more detail, more understanding, more communication. They want all of this going on so they feel that they can make the best decision possible. Then you get into Aquarius, you got about 10% of the information you need, and you got about 5% of the communication you need, and you just start blurting it out. And you want everybody to see it, and you don't worry about what it does to people, and you don't really worry about whether it's the right move or not, because when it comes around the horn, everything comes back, and it's a help to the people anyway. Mm-hmm. So Geminis, we're in a meeting in the air. Paul said we were going to come to that meeting in the air. We are in the meeting in the air. What is that talking about? We left Pisces, exploded. William Branham was an Aries, a fire sign, exploded the church and the waters, and away into the air we went. Not flying up there, but into a new age of air. And you have Gemini, Reuben, if you go into the Old Testament, the son of Jacob, was the firstborn of Jacob, And Reuben was a very weak person. He couldn't do the things he needed to do on his own. He couldn't stand up against his brethren when they sold Joseph. He couldn't tell his father the truth when they came to him, and he hid everything. He was the firstborn. When he should have been the one standing up, he didn't have that strength. And so the only way to get Jacob, himself, his brethren, and Joseph all back together again into a oneness, the only way was to produce Benjamin. When Benjamin showed up, which is Gemini, all you have to do is go look in your zodiac. Benjamin in Israel represents Gemini, the Benjamin Netanyahu running Israel. And all of these things, they're perfect types. And here we needed Benjamin. I was screaming, if you remember, Gemini, Gemini, show up, come forth, do what you need to do. Reuben's here. I can't do it by myself. We got to do something. And bang, here come Geminis. And they started showing up. Of course, Lario's a Gemini. Mitz is a Gemini. There's some other Geminis throughout the Philippines and different places. And then right away, I was screaming that in 2014, 15, and 16. And January 2017, Donald Trump gets voted in. His vice president is Mike Pence. And 2 Geminis go into the highest office in the world. Mm-hmm. So Gemini came forth. We're in the meeting in the air, whether you believe it or not. And so then the other one of the air signs is Libra. And Libra is the sign in the constellations of Levite, the priesthood in the earth. So Libra brings your government. Libra brings your spirituality. Libra brings all these things and establishes everything that Aquarius is able to dream up, and everything that Gemini is able to get all the details and communication on. Libra is the government that establishes things, and that's what you're watching right now. It looks like the world is falling apart, but there's a government being established. And I said, I believe it is a strong move toward a one world government. So the Pisces is collapsing or decaying or going away. And in its place, there's a turmoil, and there's disarray, and there's chaos. And in 2020, the dangerous and demanding world environment is defined by energy events in the Aquarian age and in the Aquarian chakra. The lights of Aquarius are shining bright, and there is determined energy flowing into the earth now. And it's dangerous, it's chaotic, it's demanding, it's making you uncomfortable. You don't know whether you should get out or not. You don't know what to do. You don't know what can come upon you, anything from disease to somebody trying to kill you to whatever it might be. You're just feeling really uncomfortable with everything. And it's all happening because of government failures. That's what it is. It's government failures everywhere. And these governments are collapsing to a new world government. A common position expressed by many astrologers sees the age of Aquarius as that time when humanity takes control of the earth. And all of them say that the age of Aquarius is going to be 2160 years. Now listen, we're on the dawning side of it. We've got probably 2150 years left of the Aquarian age in the earth. As Aquarius and the sun and the earth are all moving through the house of Aquarius, 2150 years, it's going on, it's happening, and what you're feeling right now is just the entry of it. Wait. There's more to come.
Mm-hmm.
So humanity takes control of the earth and its own destiny during this time in Aquarius. And its rightful heritage. Humanity comes to the understanding that the earth is her inheritance. Have we come to that understanding?
Yep.
We're not wanting to go anywhere. I'm not wanting to fly away. This is my inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I'm living. If I leave here before things get set up the way they should be, I'm going to want to keep returning back through regeneration and helping get this place to where it should be, because this is where my children and their children's children and children's children, and it's where the three worlds are all going to manifest together. The world before here, the world in here, and the world after here. We're all coming together in this. So we're finding out that the earth is our destiny and our heritage. And it's a rightful heritage. It's ours. With the destiny of humanity being the revelation of truth. The expansion of consciousness. Coming to truth. And you say, we had truth, Brother Parnell, when we thought Adam was the first human being. It was a little bit of truth for the time, but far from the truth. We had truth when we had the Bible. A little bit of truth for the time. It's just a little speck in eternity that the Bible's been here. But in the Aquarian age, we're going to come to the truth, which means awakening in our consciousness to a much higher level than all of these things that we thought were so true and that we thought would be the truth forevermore. So we're moving, and Aquarius is swiftly doing what it's supposed to do. Some of the things about Aquarius, the personality traits, if you look at Reuben, if you look at Israel, if you look at the Old Testament, if you look at what many of the prophets said, if you look at the old writings back before, we have writings from 4000 BC until now, but if you look at all the ways that the earth was, and you look at our theophany civilization, our pillar of fire, our spoken word, our humanity. When you look at all these things that are happening, there are certain personality traits that show up. We're talking about the Aquarian age. Typical Aquarian personality traits. Don't just think of an Aquarian as an individual. These are traits that are Aquarian age. You're going to find these in the collective age. Analytical. Very analytical. Understanding. Being able, most people, Daniel said it a lot of times, most people can take 50 dots, 100 dots, and they can put all the dots together and do this and that, but he noticed that I might take 5 million dots and put them all together.
Yep.
That's the Aquarian. He or she, and the age, think of the age, is an extremely analytical person. And they are detached. Detached meaning that we don't, as individuals, we don't feel a whole lot about attachment to something personally. We don't feel it. Aquarians, the Aquarian collective age, the Aquarian people, they are more into causes. Freedom, that's a cause. We want freedom. Pain-free, that's a cause. We want to be pain-free. We will go after a cause and put our whole hearts into it and try to collectively, through the masses, cure that thing. Mm-hmm. Fix that thing. Make that thing the way we want it. And that's Aquarians, very analytical and are detached from personal feelings about very many things. But if you're going to talk about freedom, I'd do anything for it, for anybody. If you're going to talk about whatever it might be, we'll go after that movement. We'll go after that cause. We will be in the center of that thing. Assertive, analytical, not one for going with the flow, but one who makes up their own mind and then brings the flow their way. That's what's happening. Look at the Aquarian age. We had laws in place. We had religion in place. We had politics in place. We had everything in place. And now the Aquarian age has come in, and it ain't going with the flow when it comes to all of that tradition, all of that dogma, all those books, all that word, all those sages and all those prophets. We're just kind of saying, throw it out the window. This is a brand new age. And here's the way, after having all of that, here's the way we ought to go. Mm-hmm. And the Aquarian age, collectively and individuals, pull the flow. They'll change the direction of the river if they need to bring things to the vision that they have. They are original, meaning that not too many people will have thoughts that they will have to chase after because they have their own original thoughts. The collective age is the same way. It's not chasing after things. It is trying to imprint its own understanding. So we have all of this going on. And the next thing is Aquarius. Remember the song, This is the Age of Aquarius? And Fifth Dimension was singing it. It was in the musical called Hair. And Hair being the glory. That's where all the glory was moving into Aquarius. And a musical. Music is the flow of things that touches and brings the feeling and the emotion and everything else in. But anyway, it was about the dawning of the age of Aquarius and how things would turn to a humanitarian way. And that is exactly what you're seeing. Out of all of the zodiac, the Aquarian influence is the most humanitarian of them all. And you see the gospel has turned that way. You see everything in the world is turning that way. Politics is turning that way. Everything's turning that way to the humanitarian ways. They're very independent. You wanted to know what is the Aquarian age? I'm bringing to you the Aquarian age. Easygoing. All of these things about the Aquarians. While Aquarius season is 30 days long, and that's from like February 20th to March 18th, something like that. The age of Aquarius is going to last 2,150 years. So don't think you got 30 days and things are going to get better. Aquarius is going to be here a while. So roughly every 2,150 years, the sun's position at the time of the March equinox, or at the time that spring breaks, around March 20, right in there, the March equinox moves in front of the new zodiac constellation. The age of Aquarius begins when the March equinox point moves out of the constellation of Pisces and into the constellation of Aquarius. That's when Aquarius begins. There's a date when that happened. We'll get into it here. The age of Aquarius begins then. When will that be? There's a definitive place where that happened. Aquarius and Scorpio are the smartest zodiac signs. Astrologists have studied it and studied people, but for two very different reasons. Those born under the Aquarian sign have the highest level of analytical intelligence, the highest IQs, which is measured for cognitive ability, whereas the Scorpio has a sense and an intuition for things. The Aquarian is using his intelligence. The Scorpio is using his spirit, his intuition, his feeling, and his emotions. Scorpions are extremely emotional. So we see Aquarius it's from January 20th to February 18th. I gave you some bad dates there a minute ago. Aquarius, January 20 to February 18th, when you're talking about a yearly cycle. Despite the Aquarius, in its name, Aquarius is actually the last air sign of the zodiac. Aquarius is represented by the water bearer. The mystical healer bestows water of life into the fish upon the land. According to Aquarius, it is the most humanitarian astrological sign, and we are going to move strongly into humanitarian type governments. Now, you might not see that tomorrow. You might not see it next year. And you young kids that are maybe listening to me right now and you're 20 years old, when you get 70 and 80, you still might not see it. This is Aquarius, 2150 years, and it will move ever so slowly. Those cognitive wheels just click, 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 slowly move. But I guarantee you this, by the time we get to the end of the Aquarian age, it is going to have itself fully established to turn it over to Capricorn, and an Earth be ready to live in peace.
Yep.
What are these ages? Astronomers will tell you that the Earth rotates on its axis, and that this line going through the center of the Earth has a slight wobble. It's your equator, and it has a slight wobble. Okay? It goes through a little circular wobble as it is going through its orbit around, and it takes about 25,000 years to go one time through its orbit. This cycle has been broken into 12 parts. Now, you're talking about the zodiac now. It's associated with 12 astrological signs based on which constellation the axis is wobbling towards. From around 2000 BC, remember this, to 0 AD, we were in the age of Aries. The Earth had wobbled and moved into Aries, and it was about 2130 years long. And from around 2000 AD, or 2000 BC, down to 0 AD, about the time Jesus was born, we were in the age of Aries. So then, from about the time Jesus was born to the end of the church ages, another 2,000 years, we were in Pisces. And now Pisces is collapsing. The point of the sun has moved into Aquarius. Pisces influence is collapsing, and we are moving into the age of Aquarius. So what you're feeling, these emotions and all of this change and all these feelings and all this higher consciousness and all these levels of things happening and all this uncomfortableness is actually the influence of the universe on the body of the earth. And it is really happening. And it's only going to get greater and greater. For the next 2,000 years, we will be in the Aquarian age, 2,160 years total. We have been in the transition from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age for about the last 50 years. The official beginning of the Aquarian age, all the astrologers, philosophers, and everybody else has put it here, the official beginning of the Aquarian age was November the 11th, 2011. Figure that out. 11, 11, 11. And do you know what house Aquarius is? The 11th house. The sun made its move, the point of it, into the Aquarian house, November the 11th, 2011. 11th month, 11th day of 2011. 11, 11, 11, the 11th house came in. Now you think everything isn't numerical, and you think that everything isn't moving exactly the way it's supposed to all the time. This is a great, great heavenly council that we are in. And we have made every move perfectly. Nothing is out of cater. Nothing. Everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. Is everybody understanding what I'm saying? You asked me to give you a little thoughts on the Aquarian age. Everything is okay on... I wanted to make sure that's still operating. Okay. Now, we see this. We moved into it November 11, 2011. 11, 11, 11. We're in the core of the changes of Aquarius, or we are in the foundation, or we are like, maybe if you were looking at the creation of the United States, we are the pioneers that were maybe just starting to move and infiltrate the George Washingtons and all these. We're kind of in that stage of Aquarius, very, very early. George Washington was an Aquarian. And you know, Abraham Lincoln was too. Yeah. So you got some very famous Aquarians. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Don Parnell, you know. Tori Alonso, whatever you think. I just had to throw that in. So why is this so important? Many people go their whole lives not caring or knowing if they are in Pisces or Gemini or Aquarius. Think about these ages. We were in, actually, if you go from Noah to Jesus, that was the Aquarian age. From Adam to Noah, that was the age of Taurus. So you're watching all these ages, and look at all the blood that was spilled from Adam to Noah. And then you move into Aries, and look at what happens in the Aries house. When the Aries constellation is ruling and pouring its influences into the earth, here comes a man at the end of the Aries age who's born in Aries, April the 6th or so, and he begins to bring forth what? The Aries, the dominating sign of Aries, the dominating influence of Aries is I am. That's what Aries is about. I am. And here comes this man saying, I am he. Except you believe that I am he, you should die and say, I am this. I am. I am. He was just going at it, telling him, I am the water. I am the bread that came down from heaven. You're just going on and on and on, because he was at the end of the age of Aries, and he was implanting into the people the Aries influence before it changed to Pisces. So then we come through 2,000 years under the Pisces age, and how many knows what the Pisces influence is? If you look it up, the Pisces influence is I believe. So we come through all those ages, through Paul, Irenaeus, Martin, Columba, Luther, Wesley, Branham, and we move throughout the Pisces, and all the way down here to the end of the Pisces age. Here comes a guy out, and 1946, bang, big healing revival, and he comes out, and what's his theme song? Only believe, only believe. What's going on? He's the last known prophet to imprint only believe, I believe, into the earth, to bring Pisces to its greatest culmination. And then as he goes off the scene, here we come into the Aquarian age. How many knows what the Aquarian age, its influence is? It is I do. I give is another one of the Aquaria, has a dual, but it's I do. Well, what did the man ending up the Piscean age do? He came out and he said, we're leaving this age, the church ages are over, and he comes out and he takes his little bride and he says, do you accept Jesus Christ to be your lawful wedded husband? I do. Do you accept this woman to... I accept her, I do. And we move into the age of I do, Aquarius, and we rapture out of the church and we go up into the meeting in the air. So it's a very important time, and a lot of people it doesn't matter. If they are Pisces or Gemini or whatever their moon or their rising sign is, my moon is Taurus. It's probably the only thing that gives me a little bit of feeling and a little bit of establishment. I have a Cancer rising. You can look all this stuff up for yourself. I have a Cancer rising, which gives me some feeling and kind of helps me with my emotions, and Taurus grounds me into the earth, my moon, my feelings, and everything else. And then, of course, my Aquarian sun, it puts me out here where you get on here every Sunday and Friday to find out what in the world this Aquarian's got to say next. So that's my mix. That's what I do. A lot of people don't care. This change to the Aquarian age is so important because it changes the astrological conditions for the entire planet and even some of the universe. It changes it. Every person on the planet Earth has been and will be affected by this shift. You know, you feel it. Things that you just get angry over. What in the world is going on? That's been established for years. What's wrong with those people? On and on and on. It's the Aquarian influence, the Aquarian portal, the mass movement of theophany into the earth under Aquarian influence to imprint chaos and change and uncomfortable zones and everything else that the Aquarians do. And in the meantime, Gemini's gathering all the technological information that they can. Men like Jim Galupar and different ones, and they're gathering all that in, and Mitta and Illyrio, and they're putting it on websites, and they're putting everything out, and they're just letting it flow through the earth like mad. And the Libras, those brothers, those local brothers in all the local areas across the world who actually see these things going on, they kind of try to hold a group of people in fellowship together as Libra to put a little bit of government and understanding and practical application into the earth. You can't live off communication, you can't live off information, and you can't live off dreams. And that's Aquarius and Gemini. You've got to have some Libra. You've got to have some established, practicing, understanding, fellowship, and government in the earth while all this is going on. That's why you hear me, I sometimes maybe don't emphasize it enough, but you need to get together. in your local areas. I'm not talking about church. I'm talking about fellowship and loving one another and expressing things to one another and growing and expanding and understanding one another in this Aquarian age. It's a different style altogether. Mm-hmm. The Aquarian age will be dominated by, listen, all the philosophers have said this for years, probably centuries, even as far back as Plato, when he was looking forward and talking about the Aquarian age. The Aquarian age will be dominated by networks and information. Look at it. It ain't like somebody sat down and wrote this up after it started happening.
Right.
These are prophets, philosophers, teachers, and people who were living in the days of Jesus, living in the days of Paul, living in the days of Luther, and they're writing about these things about this Aquarian age coming based on what they're seeing, and now we're seeing it happen. The Aquarian age will be dominated by networks and information. The key phrase for this age is be to be. You said, Brother Parno, you sure you got that right? Sure it's not be or not to be? No, that's not what it is. It's be to be. You are going to come to one. Be or not to be is two things. Mm-hmm. We're coming be to be. We're coming to oneness. And that's the key phrase for this age. Be to be. The key to this astrological sign, Aquarius, is I do. You begin to put it in. I give. You begin to give everything that you can. This is the age of information. Nothing is secret anymore. So I said, oh, we got the filthiest man you ever seen in the White House. He's been with prostitutes. He's done this and that. He's laid with this one and that one. He went over in Russia and urinated on Obama's bed. He's the filthiest this and that and the other. They're saying everything about him. Everything is exposed. This is the age where we're on the housetop. Mm-hmm. You think that wasn't going on when Gary Hart was running for president, when John Kennedy was in the office, mm-hmm. when Robert Kennedy was in the bed with Marilyn Monroe the night she died, and it's on and on and on and on. It's been going on forever. But this is the age where it all gets brought to light. Mm-hmm. Everything that we are doing, you can't put anything in secret and keep it there. It will come out. This is the age. No more secrets. Well, what did William Branham do? Did he restore everything? Did he bring back the lost things? Did he bring out the hidden things in the spiritual realm? What do you think? That everything else is going to remain hidden? He was the spiritual man of the hour for that day, and it's all came out in technologically and communications and everything else. Here it is pouring in by satellites and everything else, all kinds of video. This man in Minnesota, why, if that would have happened 15 years ago, before there were cell phones anywhere, there wouldn't have been a word said about any of it. There wouldn't have been nothing said. But all of a sudden, everybody's got a cell phone. I don't understand why nobody put their cell phone down and helped the man. Right. If I'd have been there, I'd have helped him. I don't care what the police said. They wouldn't have done that if I'd have been there. But there they are with their technology, getting ready to blow everything up, to expose everything, because it's an age of exposing everything. Mm-hmm. It's the same age that a lion moved in, the same age that an ox moved in, another age that the face of a man moved in, and another age the eagle moved in. This is the age of technology. This is the age of no secrets. It's all being shouted from the internet, mm-hmm. or the housetop. Mm-hmm. You know, that's where the Wi-Fi's are.
Right, exactly.
And it's all being shouted from there. So, where the Piscean age was organized in a vertical, up and down structure of what? What's a vertical up and down structure? Hierarchies. Pisces was organized, completely organized in up and down structures. Here's the head, here's the pyramid as it comes down lower and lower and lower. Here's the corporation, here's the business, here's the pyramid, here is the church, here's God, here's Jesus Christ, here's the pastor, here's the fivefold ministry, here's all the deacons and everyone else, then here's mama at home, and there's all the kids, and there's the structure of the church. And we go on and on and on, and Pisces had it so set up that now that we are breaking out of those hierarchy structures and we're starting to go vertical and leveling the playing field and getting out of horizontal, nobody likes it. They don't like it. I don't want to be there. I want to rule over somebody. One guy I used to be with, he all the time wanted people to burn in hell. He said there's got to be a hell because I want some people to burn there. And he still feels that today. As much as I talked to him and tried to make him understand. So we get out of the structure of hierarchies. The Aquarian age is organized in a horizontal network, opening the world up to its true equality. Listen, this is what a Tory said. We're moving out of the vertical hierarchies and everybody up here and the next level down here and the next class here. We're moving out of all that. That's why you're seeing all these laws falling apart. You're seeing all these political systems falling apart. You're watching hierarchy in a vertical manner being destroyed. And you're seeing a leveling or a horizontal move to make all things equal in the earth. It's going on right now. That is the Aquarian age. During this age, the focus is no longer on your identity and your personal existence. It changes to a collective. The focus is not to be or not to be. That's not the focus. Get that out of your head. The focus is to be. I am one. And if I have things that are iniquity, and if I have things that are righteous, they are me. If I have things that are happy and I have things that are sad, they are me. Whatever, we are not in a hierarchy anymore. The focus is to be. Be who you are. Turn inward. Understand yourself. Accept yourself as a whole person. Know who you are and be that. Who does not need to believe in something outside of yourself? The Aquarian age comes to that. We are a people who do not have to believe in anything outside of ourselves. You say, but that's just you, Brother Parno. No, that's the age. This is a collective age, and we are moving out of the macro into the micro. And collectively, we are understanding ourselves and moving inward. You are ready to accept that you have the knowledge, you have the wisdom within yourself, you are worthy, you are sinless, you are full of power, you are full of revelation, you are full of understanding, that is the movement of Aquarius. It's filling you up with that knowledge. It's filling you up with that understanding. It's taking your experiences and turning them into that. This Aquarian age, it's waking you up to who you are. It's no longer necessary to attach to something outside yourself. Well, I belong to Perry Green's bunch. I belong to the Two Soul people. I belong to the Baptist Church. I'm a Paul Jones man. I followed Don Parnell for 30 years. On and on and on. Aquarius age is wiping all that hierarchy out, and you feel and know that you do not have to attach yourself to anything like that. That what you are moving in this age is something so far beyond that, so far beyond hierarchy and vertical movement. This is a movement of equality. So we detach ourselves from all those things. We become a leader of one. Yourself. You're not trying to lead anyone else. You're putting advice out there. You're putting your influence out there. You're doing all of those things in the Aquarian age. But you know for a fact you're leading one person, and that's you.
Yep.
And then you want to fellowship with others. But you're only leading one person. It's no longer necessary to attach yourself to something outside yourself, but to become a leader of one, just yourself. Instead of being a railroad car that is pulled by an engine, is what most people are doing. Railroad car pulled by an engine. Instead of being a railroad car pulled by an engine, you become the engine. You become the number one in that power. You're pulling everything down that railroad track, and it's you. It's your power, it's your understanding, it's your knowledge, and you're not following anything. Aquarian age is a different age. And you know why you're seeing so much chaos? Because people don't want to come to this.
That's right.
Because we're tearing down the vertical relationship. We're tearing down the hierarchy. We're moving into a new day. You become the engine. It is your responsibility to stay on the tracks and to keep moving forward. 9:02. What can you do to be a source of balance? What can you do to be a source of balance and stability in this age when you're looking at chaos everywhere? I wrote down a few things. It's a scary time. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what you're going to wake up and see.
That's true.
You don't know. It's a very scary time. Don't give in to fear, despair, and anger. Don't do it. I said it to many people, and I'll say it to every one of you out there. If the news bothers you, shut it off. Just don't even watch it. You'll find out after about 3 or 4 days, you'll be so much calmer.
Yep.
I do it. Sometimes I'll go 5, 6 days without even paying any attention to what's going on in the news at all. Other times I watch it for a while because I kind of want to catch up. But I don't let it put me into despair and fear and anger and all of those things, which is what's going on. Let me give you a little advice. If it's doing that to you, shut the computer down, shut the TV down, shut off cable news. I don't care what cable news it is, if it's CNN, MSNBC, Fox, or whoever it is. If it is destroying your relationship with the earth and acclimating to the earth, shut it off.
That's right.
Walk away from it.
That's what you do.
Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Takes up people's lives and makes them a nervous wreck. There's nothing wrong with being on those things, but when it starts taking over your feeling, your emotion, and the lies and the slants of the media that are constantly poured out, when it starts affecting you, you need to shut it down. Get away from it. Sing your songs. Enjoy your life. Sit down somewhere and listen to the birds. Talk to your babies, your little girls, your boys, your mom, your dad. Play with your dogs. Do something and get away from that. Does everybody understand me?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, That's what's making you feel so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give in to fear, despair, or anger. Don't be a victim. I'm going to give you a victim's way of looking at things. This caused this in my life. This had a negative effect on me. I grew up in a home where my dad beat me. My mom didn't care for me. They divorced. They left me. They didn't feed me right. They didn't give me the right schooling. I had to run away 3 times. On and on and on. And what we do is we take on a victim mentality and we say, that's the reason that I can't keep a good job today. That's nonsense. That's the reason that I get so angry now and I have horrible fits. Nonsense. Do not let things victimize you. Say to yourself, those things were to work through me. They had a purpose in my life, and they have made me a better person on how to focus in life and start focusing on what you want in your career, in your life, in your family, in whatever relationships you have, and stop being the victim and saying, I can't do this because of this.
Right.
Stop it. Oh, my ancestry was in slavery, and therefore I deserve reparations. Some of the biggest foolishness that I've ever heard.
Right.
We didn't do anything to you. Something that happened 100 years ago, and you're still carrying victimize, and it's your mom and dad that gave it to you, and your grandpa and grandpa, and your aunts and your uncles that feed you with the truths of the past, but a lie for today. Mm-hmm. You can get out from under those things. Mm-hmm. Don't be the victim. I don't mean this in a bad way, but I'm just going to tell you that's why you didn't see me wearing a mask. If I went someplace and they didn't want me in the store unless I put a mask on, I told them, where they could put the mask, and I left.
That's it. That's what I do.
Because nobody is going to put me into fear. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to put me into something that I don't want to be in. Nobody's going to make me feel like a victim. And I studied a lot about slavery. And every time I see somebody with a mask on, you know what I see? That slave who was rebellious, and they went and they caught up to him, and they brought him back, and they had a cage on his head, and they had that piece right over his nose and his mouth so that he couldn't say another word to anybody about his rebellion. And they had him on the slave grounds with a mask over his face and a cage on his head, and he became a docile person who could say nothing. And every time I seen somebody wearing this thing, that's all I thought about.
Yep.
They want you in that fear. They want you in that slavery. Mm-hmm. They want you to fall in line, and they'll even put out signs and try to make you feel guilty when you're not wearing a mask.
Exactly.
I don't care. And you go on and wear it if you need to. I'm not saying don't wear a mask. I'm just telling you why I don't wear one. I'm not going to be a victim. Be a source of light. In the middle of all of this chaos, instability, everything shaking and falling apart, just be a source of light. And what I'm saying is practice what you believe. You don't have to run out there everywhere and say, you're in the middle of a horrible situation. If you just come over here and believe what I believe, let me tell you what I believe. And if you'll believe this, you'll be all right. I'm not talking about going out there and proselyting and missionarying and carrying on. I'm just saying be a light. Mm-hmm. In the middle of all of it, when everything's falling apart, be somebody that everybody can look at and say, they're a stable source. They're balanced. They know who they are. And they'll watch you, and they will gain courage off of your practices. That's being a light. What does the age of Aquarius mean to humanity? Essentially, the commencement of the age of Aquarius makes room for a fundamental shift in the consciousness of humankind. Spiritually, this means a shift away from duality, away from self-centeredness, away from tradition, and a thinking towards a more humanitarian perspective that considers the oneness of all things. That the trees, the people, the ladies, and the men, and the animals, and the birds, and everything is a oneness with me. We're moving to that consciousness. Coincidentally or not, Aquarians also represent, in astrological terms, major technological advancements such as electricity, computers, flight, general freedom associated with invention, being able to invent things. Many believe that technology, the internet, and various resources that we have available to us today comply with the plan that was laid out by the universe before we came here. I agree 100%. I believe there are heavenly councils. When I say heavenly, it's dimensional. There are dimensional councils that are planning everything for the earth so we can get all of the experience out of it that we can possibly get. Mm-hmm. It's happening all around us. This has been necessary to allow for more people to increase their awareness about the possibilities of the age of Aquarius and all it represents spiritually, thereby leading eventually to people wanting to move into this in critical mass. Now I'll tell you, we're not to the point, we're certainly not to the point that you can defund the police, that you can do away with government in the manner in which we know it. But do you see all those signs everywhere? Mm-hmm. Do you see people holding those signs up everywhere? Defund police, do away with the law. All these things are going, let the government collapse. It's not a smart thing to do right now. We're not that far along in Aquarius. But you're watching seeds being planted of what is going to happen down the road. This is what they said in the song. When the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars. Now listen. When the moon is in the 7th house, the Jupiter effect aligns with Mars, then peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars. That happened. How many of you know that happened? It happened in the heavens, February the 14th, 2009. Just a little while before the sun tipped its point into Aquarius, the moon lined up in the 7th house. And Jupiter aligned with Mars. And peace began to flow into the earth. And Gemini began to take over. And all these things began to happen. And Aquarius began to bring its influence into the earth. Now back to the lyrics of the song Aquarius. The cosmological prediction from the 1968 hit song actually foresaw a very real and rare astrological convergence. It's one of the only times it's ever happened. And it occurred on February 14th, 2009, which happens to be a day of cosmic significance. The cosmic world began to pull together and unite and begin to become one. And many of the energies and cells and atoms and frequencies and everything else begin to blend together on that very day, February 14th, 2009, and the atmospheres and the frequencies and the universe changed. It was an orbital change. So here we are. We're in 2020. So February 14th, 2009, all of the frequencies begin to blend in, and all of these things begin to happen, and Gemini begin to gather its communication, and Aquarius begin to bring all of its love and so forth into the earth and all of its dreams. And then here come 2014, the love of Aquarius, the love divine message begin to break out, and then came all the information into that, and then came some very good, wonderful, smart people to pull all this into their local area and teach it to as many people as they could and let it begin to flow, and it wakes everybody up to what's going on in their day and their age. So we've moved through 20,000 years of the zodiac. We've moved through it. It started out in Sagittarius. I'll get into this on Sunday. It started out in Sagittarius. It moved, the sun and the earth move in retrograde. So it's going backwards, counterclockwise. That's the best way to put it. So it's moving backwards. We move from Sagittarius 24,000 years ago, 25,000 years ago. We moved from Sagittarius into Scorpio. And then about 2,000 years we moved into the Libra house. And it was imprinting things into the earth as we moved. Then it moved 2,000 years later into Virgo, 2,000 years later into Leo. And then here come Cancer. About the time, there's already things going on the earth, but that's about the time Adam showed up. The earth already had people in it. The earth already had dinosaurs in it. The earth already had a lot of things going on in it. And Adam shows up right around the Cancer age. And then here we moved into Gemini, the twins, the killing of Abel, on and on and on. Moved into Gemini, and then 2,000 years later into Taurus, from Adam to Noah, and then 2,000 years from Noah to Jesus in Aries, and then 2,000 years from Pisces, from Pentecost down to the age of William Branham, and I'll get into that on Sunday. But here we are. Now we broke up Pisces. It's collapsing. It's going away. The church hierarchies, the political hierarchies, all of these things, governments, politics, everything is breaking down. The whole vertical system of Pisces is shot. It's collapsed. It's blown up. It's like the building of the towers, the Twin Towers in New York, when they dropped to the ground. It's done. That was a sign. Pisces is over, and we moved into Aquarius. Now it's 2,000 years in Aquarius. I will get into the transition from Pisces to Aquarius and our moves and what will take place to move us into a peaceful earth. About 4,000 years down the road. Don't think you're going anywhere. This is our home, and we got a lot of work to do. How am I a part of it, Brother Parnell? What can I do in the middle of all this? Focus your mind. When you see all the chaos and the vibration, don't focus your mind and say, shut this down, I can't take it. Stop it. Stop this killing. Stop this movement. Stop all this collapsing of everything around us. Stop it. Don't pray that. Don't make that your energy. Make your energy that says, this is exactly where we're at. This is exactly what we need. And focus your energy on pulling us out, not stopping us and putting us into the same old thing, but pulling us out into something greater, moving us into a more loving humanity, moving us into a more more governmental or a one nation, a one world government that is humanitarian, not rulitarian, not imperialism, not communism, not capitalism, not all these things, but move us into a good humanity. Focus your energy towards that. You say, but I'm only one person. You're one person sending vibration from the center point because you know what's going on. You have an understanding of what's happening. You are in the core. You ever watch and take a look at a nuclear bomb? That core is no bigger than a little eraser on the end of a pencil. And that core begins to vibrate from heat. And that little thing, not even the size of the nail on my fingernail here, my little finger, about the size of an eraser, laying in that. It heats and it heats and it heats, and those neutrons, they explode, and it will shake the earth out of orbit. It'll blow whole cities apart. It'll do everything from the core. You are the core. You are that little eraser head laying inside this nucleus called Earth. And your vibration will heat things up. That's why you hear me saying, and I'm going to put some things out, don't just send out vibration. Don't get all emotional and mad and start saying, I'm enraged. I want people to do this. I want this to happen. That. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know what you're doing. You have a good idea. You may see racism. I see racism. I understand that. But I also see, I'll tell you this, I see some things going on that do make me angry, and I really have to hold myself together. All that's happened is we've got a party in the United States, the DNC, that did move progressively. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they moved from supporting the KKK in the days when they were hanging them left and right to supporting Antifa, where they now burn them to the ground and do everything else to them. That's your DNC.
That's your DNC.
Start looking around. Pay a little attention. Don't go to CNN and Fox. Go to the real places and pay attention to what these little people who just want a better government are telling you is going on. Judicial Watch and Sarah Carter and Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens and Nikki Haley, many of them out there, they're bringing the truth out, and they are so afraid because they see this whole thing being hijacked.
Yep.
You say, are you afraid, Brother Parnell? No, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid at all. But pay attention to your vibration. Don't get behind something like that, because that is not going to succeed. What is going to succeed is a greater government, a better government, a more humanitarian government, a more loving community, a more loving understanding. That's what Love Divine is all about, and that's going to succeed. Get behind that. Focus on that, and let your vibration heat things up to move it to a greater, more understanding humanity than has ever been on the face of the earth. Move it to a one-world government that's not an antichrist, but it's a Christ. Move it to that. That's what this is about. So the Aquarian age. Many of you said, will you say some things about the Aquarian age and help us understand it? It has already started. It started, almost all astrologers say November the 11th, 2011. 11. The Aquarian, the sun tips itself into Aquarius. Some say a few years before that. The cosmos and the cosmics of the universe begin to pull together and blend and move into unity and oneness in 2009, February 14. So you're watching all of that, and then you see William Branham, who brought the spiritualness of it 50 years ahead of all that. Because the spiritual's always ahead of all the other things. Mm-hmm. The physical, the natural, the politics, the religion, and all. The spiritual, the core of it is always. William Branham was the core that heated up a whole lot of things and brought us down to here. Now we are sitting in a place where that we've come through the transition, and hear me, the explosion is on. We ain't waiting for an explosion. The explosion is on. Things are changing rapidly. Focus your energy. Focus it on what you have been taught, what this vision is, where we want to go, what we want to happen in the earth. Focus your energy. That's what the Aquarian age is about. I hope I haven't scared you too bad. I hope you're not wondering, geesh, where's this guy coming from? Who's he? Where in the world did he get all this that I haven't even started? When it comes to these things, I have been looking at it for years with this little Aquarian mind, Taurus moon and emotion and feelings and this Cancer uprising. I'm like, wow, get it out. Let's do it. Let's move where we're going to move. All I can tell you is if you're in this movement, if you're in this mass movement, if you understand what's going on, don't smack your tent pegs very deep into the ground. Because we're going to pull up and move. And about the time you get them all down, we're going to pull up and move again. So don't make yourself comfortable. Let's just keep moving. And let's understand who we are. Anything, I didn't mean to take over, but does anybody have anything you want to say? The effects of the Aquarian age. Are you used to the chaos yet? It's TIA. This is Aquarius. It's going to happen. Love bless.
It is happening.
It's happening all around us.
It's happening around. Whether you want to admit it, see it, it's going on. Your choice is you to accept it and flow with it, or you're going to try to fight it.
That's right.
The more you fight it, the more tore up you're going to get about it.
Yes.
This explosion's already happened. It actually happened 50 years early. If you go back numerically and look at February of 1961, look what happened.
Yeah.
Now look, go 50 years in the future, and what do you get? February 2011. What are you coming into? The Aquarian age. Everything, if you look at the numerics of it, everything is laying right there. You just got to look at it. It's there.
Yes.
And it's already begun. It already started. And there's all you can do is just don't get so tore up about it. Realize it's for the greater good.
And we will look very carefully on Sunday about how William Branham made some statements about the zodiac, how we moved from Pisces into Aquarius through Leo long before anything moved into Aquarius. We were being woke up under the Aquarian sign by a prophet. We'll take a look at that. So here we are. The hierarchy of vertical is collapsing. The twin towers are falling. And now we're setting up a level playing field, a horizontal movement. Love you. I don't have any music, so Brother Allen is in his work season, so we will I was thinking about that little song, all is well, all is well, we have heard our message, shalom, and all is well. There is a place of perfect rest behind the inner veil. So rest in life, rest, for all is well. All is well. All is well. We have heard our message, shalom, and all is well. There is a place of perfect rest behind the inner veil. So rest, little wife, rest, for all is well. This is our life. This is our understanding. And we're in the vibrational core of it all. So as we stand, we will trust in this energy that we have, trust in this understanding that we have, trust in the authority that we have among us. It is the Christ. It is the I am. And we call all things to be. Not to be or not to be. We are calling all things to be. It's who we are. You need healing? Let's call it to be. You need understanding? Let's call it to be. You need finances? Let's call it to be. Let's be the Christ for our day and our age. Amen.